Joining us from central London is Nabila Ramdani, and she's a journalist who specialises in the Middle East and North Africa. And Nabila, quite astonishing. What did you make of it?
Well, absolutely. And I think, whatever you make of that speech, Musa Ibrahim, who is, of course, a spokesperson for the Gaddafi regime, is raising a hugely important question, dare I say. He's bringing us straight back to the beginning of this conflict and the reasons why NATO intervened. And of course, it was to prevent a potential onslaught on Benghazi, as Gaddafi forces were advancing in a rather daunting manner towards Benghazi, threatening rebel forces, to put down rebel forces in a very brutal way. And now that Tripoli itself is facing a bloodbath, it is, and now that the lives of thousands of innocent people are once more at stake, I think it's fairly legitimate to ask how the West and indeed NATO is going to react. Are they going to leave the rebels to it, or are they going to intervene to prevent a potential carnage?
What do you about the timing of this?
It is, the fact that the spokesperson of the Gaddafi regime is making such a dramatic speech at this moment clearly shows that the regime has come under the biggest threat, under its biggest threats for 42 years. It's a massive, what's happening at the moment is, of course, a massive reverse to the regime. And it could always be heading towards an end game. The revolution, of course, started in the east in Benghazi, but now it seems that it's the rebel forces in the southwest which have become the major threat to the regime. And we also have seen or heard from reports that there have been elements of rebellion within Tripoli itself. Some people feel indeed emboldened by the fact that the rebels are getting closer and closer to Tripoli, and they are perceived as the liberators, if you will. And so this is giving them, more courage to revolt from within. All that said, it is also very striking how amateur the rebels look. They have, of course, to be commended for being, idealistic young men who are challenging a very nasty regime for all the right reasons. But it is noticeable that these are, in the end, very young, inexperienced men wearing T-shirts and flip-flops and carrying guns. We are also seeing how defiant the Gaddafi regime is. The clan is very much, standing firm. And the loyalists are all in arms and ready to fight for a regime from which they have benefited over the decades. So it's not just a matter for the rebels, I'm afraid, to say, of getting into Tripoli or even winning Tripoli. It's about holding down a city which has been under Gaddafi's control and has been shaped by Gaddafi for 42 years. And a regime of that nature, a regime of that brutality, a regime of that sort doesn't collapse overnight.
Nabila Ramdani, thank you.